Sinaloa, Mexico, where the dirt remembers every drop of blood, where boys grow up fast, or they don't grow up at all, and where the only thing more dangerous than poverty is ambition. Arturo Beltrán Leyva was born in 1961, the third of 5 brothers, each one raised on dust, discipline, and silence. Their father, a failed farmer, their mother, a woman of steel, hard hands, harder faith. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She prayed with one eye open, because in Sinaloa even God gets robbed. Arturo didn't come into this world crying. He came in watching, calculating. Even as a child, there was something cold in his stare. Not dead, just detached. While other kids played with marbles, Arturo was moving grams. First weed, then heroin, then cocaine. He knew how to weigh product before he knew how to read. And unlike the rest, he didn't chase the rush. He didn't chase the cash. He chased order, structure, power, command. He was obsessed with systems, who owed who, where the money flowed, which cops could be bought and which ones could be buried. By his 20s, while most men were dodging bullets or digging graves, Arturo was coordinating multi-state operations, tons of product, military-grade weapons, soldiers who would slit a throat before asking why. He didn't need fame, didn't want to be seen, because Arturo understood something most criminals never do. You don't have to be loud to be the one in charge. While the others screamed for attention, Arturo whispered commands, and entire cities moved. He wasn't born into greatness. He was born into chaos. And he made chaos his kingdom. The 1990s, a decade of blood, bribes, and borders. While the world danced to pop music and celebrated the end of the Cold War, Mexico was entering its own kind of conflict. A silent war, fought in shadows. And at the heart of it all was Arturo Beltrán Leyva. He wasn't just part of the Sinaloa cartel. He was its invisible spine. While Joaquin El Chapo Guzman became the face, Arturo was the structure, the strategist, the one who didn't just play the game. He rewrote the rules. He understood power like a general, not the kind that shouts orders from a palace, the kind that walks through the battlefield and knows every name, every rifle, every escape route. His network reached deep into the Mexican army, lieutenants, colonels, even generals. Some were on his payroll. Others didn't even know they were serving him. That's how deep his game went. He recruited from the military, not street thugs, not hotheads, but trained killers, men who could follow orders without blinking, men who had already seen hell and were ready to burn others in it. And Arturo, he moved like a ghost in a suit. Never too flashy, always clean. Every meeting was business, every deal surgical. He held meetings in churches, dined with bishops, sat across from governors and police commanders with a calm smile, as if he was just another businessman. But his business was blood, and business was booming. He ran extortion, debt collection, assassinations like clockwork. He built safe houses that looked like ranches, stash houses that looked like bakeries, and entire towns where even the mayor answered to him. And he had one golden rule: don't speak my name unless you want to meet me. And nobody wanted to meet Arturo, because meeting him usually meant 2 things. You were either going to get rich or die screaming. While others competed for headlines, Arturo invested in silence. He wasn't just feared, he was respected. Because even in a world built on betrayal, Arturo never broke his own code. Loyalty, discipline, precision. He wasn't just a cartel leader. He was a military doctrine, wrapped in white linen. 2008, the empire was fat. The roots were running. The money flowed like rivers through every level of power, from border patrols to cabinet doors. But with empires comes ego, and ego always wants more. For years, the Beltrán Leyva brothers had stood shoulder to shoulder with El Chapo. They moved product together, shared blood, shared bullets, shared the spoils. But Arturo, He started to notice something. Chapo was expanding faster than ever, taking new routes, making side deals that didn't include the Beltrán Leyvas. At first it was whispers, then seizures, then arrests. Arturo's cousin, Alfredo, taken down in Culiacan, a military sting so clean it could only mean one thing: a setup. Arturo didn't panic. He calculated. He traced back the raid, the intel, the timing, and it all pointed to one man. The man they had trusted like a brother. Joaquin Guzman, El Chapo. That betrayal broke more than trust. It cracked the very ground the cartel stood on. Arturo didn't just break ties. He declared war. And when Arturo declared war, he didn't send warnings. He sent heads. What followed wasn't a feud. It was a civil war. A full-blown narco conflict that turned cities into graveyards and highways into open-air morgues. The Beltrán Leyva cartel unleashed hell. Hit squads and SUVs, assassins with military training, ambushes in broad daylight. They targeted Chapo's lieutenants, his cousins. Even his mother's home came under surveillance. And El Chapo? He hit back. Sinaloa became a battleground. Families disappeared. Entire villages emptied out overnight. And the body count? It didn't rise. It exploded. Arturo understood one truth. You don't just shoot the king, you burn the whole palace. So that's what he did. He didn't care about headlines. He didn't care about public image. He wanted to send a message so loud it echoed through every corridor of power. Betrayal has a price, and I collect in blood. After the split, Arturo didn't look back. He didn't retreat to the mountains like others. He went forward into territory no one dared to touch. While most cartels fought over border towns and desert crossings, Arturo set his sights on something bigger. Mexico's heart. Cuernavaca, Acapulco, Mexico City. Places tourists flocked to. Places politicians lived. Places the cartels were told to avoid. But Arturo wasn't just a trafficker, he was a tactician. He understood that real power wasn't in drugs, it was in infrastructure. So he took the South, not with bullets, but with briefcases. He bought judges, owned cops, had governors on speed dial. Customs agents waved his trucks through without a glance. Airports were his playground. Military checkpoints became escort vehicles. He didn't run from the state. He merged with it. And in return, he offered peace. While other cartels left bodies in the streets, Arturo ran clean corridors. No shootouts, no headlines, just efficiency. But when blood was required, he didn't flinch. Because beneath the calm was a storm waiting to be unleashed. His safe houses in Cuernavaca were bunkers, loaded with cash, gold-plated AKs, saints on the wall, and death lists in drawers. His men wore body armor under suits. Some were ex-Marines, others former federal agents. Arturo paid them double what the government did, and they gave him triple the loyalty. And while other capos loved to show off, flashy cars, tigers, women, Arturo moved in silence, always in white, always surrounded by holy men and killers. To the public, he was a businessman. To the church, a generous donor. To the streets, the South's undisputed king. And in Acapulco, once a paradise, now his playground, locals called him El Patron Blanco, the white boss. Because when he walked through the markets, even the wind held its breath. He didn't scream, he didn't shoot, he simply appeared. And everyone understood, this land doesn't belong to the government anymore. It belongs to Beltrán. 2009. The tide had turned. The government, once blind, now had its eyes wide open. Not because it wanted justice, but because it had no choice. The Beltrán Leyva cartel had grown too big, too organized, too close to the palace walls. And Arturo? He didn't run. He didn't beg. He dug in. In Cuernavaca, he transformed a luxury condo into a fortress. Thick walls, reinforced doors, grenades by the window, rifles in every room. And Arturo? He wore camouflage now, full military gear, like a man who had stopped pretending to be a businessman and was finally ready to die like a general. He knew the walls were closing in, his allies were flipping, his lieutenants falling one by one, the media was on him, the DEA was tracking him, and the Mexican Marines, they were coming. But Arturo didn't panic. He prepared. He told his men, if they come for me, let them earn it. He lined the floors with tripwires, hung grenades on coat hooks, posted snipers on rooftops, and kept a rosary wrapped around his rifle. And then, December 16th, Operation Navidad. Before dawn, the sky ripped open, choppers overhead, Marines in black, flashbangs through the windows, gunfire echoing through Cuernavaca like thunder. Inside, Arturo stood his ground. He didn't hide in a panic room. He didn't crawl into a tunnel. He picked up a rifle and fired back. A drug lord? No, a warrior. The battle raged for hours. Grenades rolled down hallways, walls cracked, smoke thickened. And then, silence. When the dust settled, Arturo was dead, half naked, face up, blood pooling beneath him, surrounded by stacks of cash, saints, AK-47s, and the bodies of his most loyal soldiers. The government paraded his corpse on TV, declared victory, announced that the boss of bosses was no more. But in the streets of Sinaloa, in the back rooms of Acapulco, and in the whispers of sicarios across Mexico, it wasn't a celebration. It was a funeral dirge, because Arturo didn't die a fugitive. He died like the man he always believed himself to be. A commander, a myth, a king who never kneeled. Arturo Beltrán Leyva was gone, but the blood he spilled didn't dry. His death didn't bring peace. It brought fragmentation, like a glass shattering in slow motion. His empire split into deadly, jagged pieces. The lieutenants who once answered to him, now they answered to no one. Each one grabbing what they could, routes, towns, armies. And with every split came war. La Barbie, LH, Los Mazatlecos, Los Guerreros Unidos. They weren't heirs. They were wolves fighting over the bones of a lion. And the violence, it escalated. Kidnappings, mass graves, videos online, brutal, surgical, cinematic executions meant not for rivals, but for everyone watching. But here's the thing about Arturo. He wasn't just a cartel boss. He was a method, a playbook, a style of domination that didn't die with him. Other cartels adopted it. Infiltrate the state, command the army, wear the mask of the benefactor, and strike like the devil. And in Sinaloa, his ghost still walks. You'll see his image in shrines next to La Santa Muerte, draped in white, surrounded by candles and AKs. In villages, his name is whispered not with fear, but with reverence. Because Arturo didn't just rule with brutality, he gave. He built clinics, paid for funerals, left envelopes of cash during Christmas for families who had nothing. To the state, he was a criminal. To the poor, he was a patron. And legends like that, they don't vanish, they multiply. Today, the Beltrán Leyva cartel may be fractured, but the ideology, the blueprint, still alive. In every young sicario who straps on a vest and whispers his name before a hit. In every politician still afraid to mention him out loud. In every soldier who wonders if his general is on someone's payroll. Arturo is still here, not in body, but in the silence that follows gunfire, in the fear that moves faster than bullets, because some men die and become history, others die and become doctrine. In Mexico's narco history, names fade, tombs get overgrown, legends get replaced, but Arturo Beltrán Leyva, he didn't just leave a trail of bodies, he left a curriculum, a lesson plan in how to build fear like architecture, how to run a government without ever running for office, and how to die without ever kneeling. He taught a generation of killers that brute force wasn't enough. You needed structure, you needed order, you needed belief, and belief That's more powerful than bullets, because when a man becomes more than flesh, when he becomes myth, you can't kill him. You can only try to survive the world he created. Today, the cartels are bigger, smarter, more violent. But trace the DNA back. The tactics, the formations, the brutality hidden in sophistication. And you'll find Arturo's fingerprint on all of it. Even from the grave, he's still writing rules. And every time a young sicario says, El Jefe de Jefes, it's not a nickname, it's a warning. Some men want power, some men want peace. But a rare few want to teach the devil how to lead. Arturo Beltrán Leyva, El Jefe de Jefes, the ghost who taught monsters how to rule.